is just fantastic.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Hope you're having a marvellous day. My door is open, all the dogs are here. There's a picture on the screen of the one who's barking if you hear him. He balks, because he's French, and a massive dick. Today we're going to be taking a look at the recent goings on for Lilly Tino. If you don't know who they are, I've done a video on them in the past. Covered them a couple times. I think of them as nothing more than a TikTok grifter, and I think they are still that, to be honest. We'll go through, just in case you don't know who they are, some more notable things they have done, and lead up to the more recent, which all handily ties in to a recent ruling by the UK Supreme Court about what a woman is. This has led to the likes of J.K. Rowling trending, something about Scotland as well. Basically, biological sex is recognised, and this is going to cause quite the furore. Yeah, that. It's going to cause a stir, yes. And I'm intrigued by it. Not going to give much in the way of an opinion on it, because truthfully, I'm more interested in watching everyone else react. Popcorn isn't overly expensive yet, so I may get some later.
It's a girl! Or I'm a girl. Now this is actually my second gender reveal, because the first time my parents told the world that I was a boy, which is incorrect, but I do not hold it against them, because how could they have known I was gonna be trans?
So they weren't wrong then, were they? See, I like how you set that up. Congratulations on your gender reveal to yourself and your audience. How many of them pay for your Only Fupa Fiber failed adult film actor account? I'm curious, because considering how many times you go to a restaurant, get, as you call it, misgendered, and then rage quit the restaurant or call the manager and then rage quit the restaurant, you must be flush in some way. Then again, don't forget here, Lilly is somebody that lives in a very, what is considered progressive region. At the same time, is regularly misgendered. Gotta love that tolerance and intolerance, am I right, folks? Just to be clear, I'm going to show some clips from other videos before we get to the main one, which involves a croissant. When we get there, you'll understand.
But it's a good reminder that the parts you see on an ultrasound don't determine a baby's gender.
But they do, and if you hear a dog barking, I do apologise, it's my sister's French bulldog barking. They do determine your biological sex. Biological sex isn't just one thing. There are multiple types of genetic sex. Multiple types. Biological sex is the umbrella term for all of it. All of which immutable fact. Do you hear that thudding? Yeah, that's Bingo telling me he wants attention. He's a needy little bitch.
And how is that possible? Well, think about it like this marker. A blue cap usually means a blue marker, but sometimes marker caps get switched, and in this case, it is a pink marker.
So from this video, that's all we need, because immediately, the one thing we take away from it is the false equivalence, right? And that's a part of Lilly's content, to try and dumb it down so that even children can understand. With that in mind, Lilly has done content for children, which did, well, lean into rumours of Lilly being a bit inappropriate. I would argue you should not be teaching this to children at all. You really shouldn't. Let them pretend they're dragons and get over yourselves. People who do this solely do it for their own ego.
Hi friends! Today we're going to talk about something super important. What it means to be transgender. It's a big word, but I promise that it's easy to understand.
The fact this video continues when it should stop with the following: "It is not remotely appropriate for children, so you perhaps shouldn't be here to watch this part, and I really should be dressed like this or with a scenery like this so it looks a bit, sus." That's how you should do that. Sadly, you lent into this a bit much. Now, part of me thought you did this not to be educational, but because you knew controversy breeds views, and that is the sad state of affairs that we're in these days. It's why certain YouTubers make certain thumbnails with a very particular facial expression, because it gets more people interested in what you've produced. Same with the catchy titles. "Oh, they make the situation worse." Now, I've done that before. It doesn't work on me, because I use a cartoon avatar. Sadness, I know. But it does work for many others. And Lilly is no exception.
Ready to learn? The first thing I want you to do is close your eyes. Now think. Do you feel like a boy, a girl, or a little bit of both?
So with this, I found it quite an interesting idea to close your eyes and try and envision what you think you are. The problem with it is the vast majority won't feel anything at all, because they are what they are. They're exactly that. They don't have to feel masculine or feminine, which is where everyone seems to think you reside as man or woman. which is why there are a lot of the social media influencers who identify as female who make it look like they're trivializing and or tokenizing what it means to be a woman. It's why people like Lilly, like Jeffrey Marsh, Dylan Mulvaney, there are others as well who get accused of this, who get a lot of hassle because of how they present as the more extreme version, and then simultaneously not in the case of Jeffrey Marsh, because Jazzy J looks a bit methed out.
Do you have your answer? Great. Now I want you to imagine that everyone keeps telling you that you're something else, even though in your heart you know who you are. Wouldn't that make you sad inside? People who feel like this are transgender.
I can promise you that does not apply to all people, and I hope no child was shown this video, because it is poor information. You're framing it a particular way on purpose. Don't forget here, the reason we don't transition children is because as a child, and then going through puberty as a teenager, they need to go through that to become a full adult before their body can then make any changes that need to be made through a diagnosis of gender dysphoria, as opposed to simply saying, I'm trans, deal with it. Because that's not how this should work at all. The science is no longer on the side, it never was in the first place because people just denied it existed, no longer on the side of those who simply think, I think therefore I am. The scientific method must always be applied to everyone in every walk of life. When it comes to things like this is not a subject for children. Now I wanted to point out in this one, it's the poorly framed logic. Okay, on to video number 3, because some of you might not remember some of the things Lilly has been up to of late, so I want to show that before we move on to the next part.
It has been 20 days since my FFS. About 70% of the swelling is gone, but it'll take another year or two for the rest of it to go down. So let me show you around my new face. For reference, here's what I looked like before.
When this was first shown on social media, I saw it on Twitter and commented that I couldn't really tell the difference. No matter how many angles Lilly showed us, I couldn't tell the difference before and after. It was nowhere near as pronounced as the likes of Riley Dennis. Right, I think Blair White also had something similar done. I remember seeing the difference. It was quite obvious. This, not so much. Now when I commented that, people had said to me, yes, but the swelling hasn't gone down. I'm still not convinced weeks later. I'm really not. If you had surgery, good for you, but this is not good surgery. Now I wanted to show this because, again, this is something Lilly wants to do. This is where Lilly has raised money to try and make themselves look more like what they believe they are. And that's totally fine, no issue from me, I couldn't care less. You do whatever you want with your money and your body. Don't promote it to children. Lilly does like, though, to have on their account story time. And that's now where we're going to go, before we loop back to the false equivalence, because that does tie into the final video.
I was just in the women's room at a cheesecake factory, and when I walked in, there was this little girl, like 3 years old, tops. She was standing there alone, I assumed waiting for her parent who was in the stall. And all the stalls were full. So like I couldn't go in, I just had to wait. And it was me and this little girl and no one else. And she kind of looked at me like...
Yeah, I'm guessing that feminization surgery didn't do as much as you would have hoped. The discussion about the bathroom is an interesting one because of executive orders being signed, because the perspective has shifted massively. Things like passports as well. This shift is an interesting one. I'm neither supporting, nor condoning, nor condemning. I'm merely highlighting that with those massive societal shifts, things like this aren't going to be as much of a thing. And by the way, if a child can tell, chances are they're going to point it out. Kids' minds are remarkably well malleable, great at noticing the more obvious, because nothing is as complicated to them yet.
And, you know, I just like nodded my head and didn't look at her. I was like, you know, it's kind of awkward. And it occurred to me that when the parent, who I don't know, leaves the stall, exits their stall and sees me, a trans person, and their little 3-year-old daughter, that they might make an assumption.
Based on the fact the internet is a massive weapon, and there are many on the internet who are within a certain category who will weaponize it just enough to pull up every crime committed by somebody who is trans against children, those assumptions carry enough weight with a parent for the parent to perhaps be insecure. But you are assuming that the parent will be intolerant towards you. That reeks of insecurity. I wonder where that truly comes from. You might claim victimhood, but let's face it here, you've got nothing to be a victim about. Now, on to the next video, the last video, the more recently shared video of another one of Lee's hot takes that involve intelligence and food. No, not the time they slipped a racial slur by accident instead of saying nugget. I would say it happens, but it doesn't, as much as people think. The food thing, though, does tie into the first video, which is why I want to show it last as a nice way of circling back.
Trans women aren't women, then is this big croissant not a croissant?
C'est un croissant, par la façon ridicule, dont tu as choisi de le prononcer.
Of course it's a croissant. It's made out of butter and dough just like any other croissant.
You're baiting me out, aren't you? You're baiting me out. The pronunciation's one thing. Butter and dough. Is that what we're going with? Okay. Your education system, it needs some work. Let's just, you know what, before I get completely triggered to hell, why don't we, just see where we're going with this?
Oh, but there are biological differences. This croissant was born different. I'm not saying that there isn't a cosmetic difference between this croissant and this croissant, but they are both inarguably still croissants.
See? A false equivalence was born. Its gender was assumed incorrectly, and then when it grew up it wanted to be a bigger croissant, not a croissant. Fam, I can't be bothered. I've seen, there's a video of the ones in London, the croissants that are monstrous in size. I have no interest in eating such a thing, because to me that's just, it's a novelty. I get it, but no. To anyone that does enjoy a larger croissant, that's totally fine. I believe you can get your hands on those rather large pain au chocolat as well, which is brilliant, of course it is. But still no. Why? Because seriously, why would I want to suffer that? That just reeks of indigestion, fam. You're only using this as a prop. Also, people donate too much to you if you're willing and able to make these kind of videos on a daily, to complain about gender. Man, if you did this in England, I promise with what has now just transpired with the Supreme Court, you wouldn't get very far.
Oh, but they're invading our bakeries and trying to brainwash our kids. But how? By teaching your kids there's more than one way to be a croissant? If anything, the existence of big and small croissants shows our kids how wonderful and diverse the world of pastries can be.
Oh, so it's a pastry now, is it? Okay. That's good to know. I can tell you don't spend much time in the kitchen. Although I already knew that, what with the amount of times I've seen you at a restaurant. By the way, you must be making a lot more money than I thought, because I wish I could go to restaurants as often as you do. Even if it were to be misgendered, I wouldn't care. Why? I'm there for food. I don't care what the staff say. They're paid to do a job, and that's it. I'm not there to have a lovely time with them. I'm there to have a lovely time with company. But then your lovely time with company is your live stream chat or your camera lens. You must have a lonely life, and I'm okay with that. And by the way, to those who are wondering, I'm not looking down at those who work in customer service, only stating I didn't go there to enjoy my time with them.
Next thing you know, you're going to start demanding that big croissants use separate cafes and identify as scones. So before I demolish this delicious and very valid pastry, repeat after me. Big croissants don't affect me in the slightest. If anything, it's pretty cool that they exist.
I would never say that for two separate reasons. One, I don't spew propaganda. False equivalence propaganda, no less. Okay, there's a third reason I'm about to get to as well. Second, because you won't say croissant correctly. And third, how dare you compare a croissant to a scone, or a scone if you're that person. How dare you? We will not besmirch the scone on this channel, and we will certainly not besmirch the croissant on this channel either. Learn to speak languages. Don't think you can appropriate and speak literally. This is why you Americans can't have nice things. Okay? Be better.
Maybe one day I'll be lucky enough to find a big croissant and order it and dunk it in hot chocolate. Okay, my metaphor is falling apart, but you get it. All right, here we go. Oh my God. It's as big as my head. It's so flaky, I'm covered in flakes. I don't care that I have hot chocolate over my face. That's incredible.
Yes, what an incredibly ladylike experience I just observed. Fantastic, I've never been happier in my life. Do let me know what you think in the comments about the false equivalences, because I think I understand the point as to why Lily wants to drive them home. I do think they're remarkably disingenuous and used as an excuse to dunk on everyone else for how good their life really is, but also how hollow their life really is. Their only hook is their gender identity. They offer nothing else. beyond Freudian slips of racial slurs, and constantly being misgendered, which makes that surgery, which I've no doubt is incredibly expensive, not worth it in the slightest. As a final thing, I'm going to be streaming on Twitch at some American Truck Simulator tonight. Hope to see you there. We're in Missouri, for those who are interested. Trying to get to Joplin. If I don't see you there, have a wonderful day, and thank you all very much for listening.